This is Niger Dialogue. Dear viewers, welcome to Niger Dialogue with Stevie. Killings and abductions by Islamic terrorists and bandits in Nigeria are no longer headlines but daily realities that have become the experience of Nigeria, especially those living in the north. In recent times, the country has witnessed unprecedented upsurge in this crime with calculated, methodological, and systematic targeting of Christians in Nigeria, attracting global condemnation and designating Nigeria as a country of particular concern. The US President Donald Trump has been critical and vocal about the situation and has recently labeled Nigeria as a disgraceful country after threatening military action against Nigeria should the genocide against Christians continue. But the threat has not dosed up the tension but rather ignited new ways of attack across both as these terrorists and bandits keep regrouping, making adoption of students as part of their agenda with a heavy demand for ransom. Speaking at the Silver Jubilee of the Northern Consultative Forum, the African's richest person, Aliko Dangote, blamed terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping on lack of job creation, poor agriculture, and industrialization. But one may ask, are industrialization, agriculture, and job creation enough to curb terrorism in Nigeria? All right, I will unveil my guest. I will drive the conversation after this break. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Steve Niger Dialogue with Stevie R. Too many headlines, too much noise, confused about the real story. Stop guessing, start understanding. This is Niger Dialogue, where we provide the clarity Nigeria needs. Welcome back. As I promised you or told you earlier, I am joined in the studio by a guest who, of course, we unveil and offer his perspective on this topic. I'm talking about no other person but Peter Momo. He is a lawyer, a writer, and a co-founder of Clarity. His expertise on economy and social issue is top notch. Peter Momo, many thanks indeed for being on Niger Dialogue. I am suitably delighted to have you join me on the show.
It's an honor. Thank you very much for having me, Stevie.
Okay, you're welcome.
Very
As
much.
you rightly heard during the introduction, Arigo Dangote has blamed terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping on lack of job creation, poor agriculture, and industrialization. What's your assessment of Dangote's recommendation? Do you agree with him?
Yeah, one cannot argue that. He has the data, he has the facts. And if I remember correctly, at that the Northern Consultative Forum, or as it is popularly known, the Arewa Consultative Forum, he said he had what he was saying was backed up by facts. He was even saying that there was a time that Arthur Anderson, one of these top audit firms, which is now consolidated into KPMG, one of the top four consulting firms, had to undertake research, had to take proper raw data on one of the problems, I think, in the Nigerian textile industry, as it was very operational in the north, why it fell. So he was not just speaking from, will I call it a public, like a newspaper stand discussion. No, he was speaking from fact. But then I would like to add to the fact of what he has said, that indeed, right, terrorism, banditry has contributed to the joblessness and lack of industrialization in the north. What I would like to add to it is the fact that terrorism and banditry is the consequences of the bad leadership that has been a problem for the northern parts of Nigeria. But of course, Nigeria as a whole, we have the issue of leadership as a problem. But in the north, I think it is very pronounced that, for example, in the South, let's take I won't mention a state, they may have a bad leader, but they do not have the unfortunate event of having to face terrorism and banditry. And so everybody just finds a way to survive. But in the North, they equally have bad leaders. But that has a rippling effect and consequence that can spiral into terrorism and banditry that they cannot resolve. So we have bad leadership. So bad leadership is the root, the cause, the foundational issue we are having. Bad leadership in the place of not being futuristic in planning, not being concerned about posterity, not being concerned about human capital. Of course, you will not deny the fact that northern elites are notorious, or people already blame them for using religious and political factors to cause and deepen the wounds and the problems over there. But leadership, it all falls on leadership. Once the head is rotten, the whole body cannot function. Strike the shepherd and then the sheep will scatter. So we have a problem of bad leadership that is supposed to model a structure of livelihood, model a structure of security of lives and property. And when they are once they fail in that, what do you have? You have people who are jobless, and then the state will easily collapse and then spiral down into whatever element that is available. And terrorism comes in, banditry comes in.
Okay. Yeah, yes, I agree with you, but I think poor leadership is not particular to the northern states,
Of course.
because it's something that is universal and cut across all the states in Nigeria. Talk about Benue, Enugu, Imo, but you don't see the youth going about killing people because there's poor leadership. Don't you think that this terrorism, banditry are ideologically and religiously driven than just poor leadership? Don't you think these are the factors giving rise to terrorism and banditry in the north?
You're already driving into the answer yourself. Of course, the north is peculiar in its own case. And so, as you rightly mentioned, let's take a case like Benue. There's joblessness, right? And Benue is majorly dominated by the thieves and the Idomas, right? And most of them are largely Christians, right? And so, and most of them are largely agrarian. They're into subsistence farming. And so, there's no job, there's nothing to do. So, the religious influence on them does not tell them to take up arms, right? The religious and political structure does not influence them to go as far as banditry. They can go into theft, they can go into communal clashes and what have you. But it's not so pronounced that the average Idoma youth would want to take up arms and then form a militia or a bandit group, right? Because there are religious factors that influences him. There are social pressures or cultural systems that influences the limit or scope of his criminal intent per se. But in the north, it's a whole ball game that is totally different. So there's a religious structure that is being hijacked and manipulated by bad state actors. There is a political structure that is being manipulated by bad state actors, whereby we have jobless young northern people, jobless young northern Nigerians. They don't have anything to do. They are, of course, agrarian, and they are, of course, powerful and willing to work. But what the bad state actors do is they like to use the religious underpinning to abuse the privilege they have. And instead of using that religious training or religious system or structure that is applicable in the north to empower the young people to become meaningful citizens, proper citizens who are thinking of working or benefiting the society, becoming taxpayers or using their power to do something or going to their farms to double down on work. What these bad state actors do is to use that religious underpinning to motivate these young boys to take up arms in the name of religious warfare that, of course, we sincerely know is not serving the interest of these young men. It's serving the interest of these bad state actors. What these bad state actors do is to use the political structures they have because they want to think of maintaining power, gaining more power, state capture, instead of, empowering these young people to have economic influence, economic leverage, and not become a nuisance to society. They want to use that political structure to marginalize those people to become poor so that they can control their destiny and garner their votes without them having any say in it for the next election cycle. So you can't, you don't, yes, that is applicable in the south, but in the north, it's more pronounced that these people have really captured the religious system and the political system applicable there to marginalize, to manipulate, and to keep those people
Yes,
in this
okay.
circle.
In your response, you talk about joblessness as being one of the motivators or factors. Okay, that's influence terrorism and banditry. Okay, now if government is to create more job in order to curb insecurity or maybe terrorism, what job can offer a salary of 100 million? Because those are kidnappers and terrorists. When they kidnap, okay, they demand 100 million per head in adoptions as ransom. So what job will give them that kind of amount of money so that they will be dissuaded or discouraged from
So you need to
indulging
understand that
terrorism?
these
Yes.
people are not. It's not so much a problem of joblessness in the first place. It's a problem of ideology. Why are they doing what they are doing? Of course, you say there's joblessness,
Yes.
which is pushing them. No blame, no issues on that. But primarily, this is a problem of ideology. Ideology that has been sponsored by bad state actors, and we need to deal with the root of that ideological problems that is motivating these boys. And not just ideology, there are cultural issues. Some of these people causing rampage, they have been used to the nomadic lifestyle. And the nomadic lifestyle that they have been used to gives them a freedom of movement that they don't want it to stop. And because they believe they are not accountable to the government system, they are going on rampage. So we need to now put checks and balances against these cultural norms of life, of nomadic practice. Not just that, this is a problem that has to do with a political structuring. Let's be very sincere. The political actors in the north, if they want to be creation of jobs, there will be creation of jobs, but they do not want it. Nobody's going to pay someone that is a school sat what he's not able to what is beyond his level of experience or expertise. Nobody. But the political system by the state actors is not enabling even the jobs to be created. So we need to work on the religious ideology. Okay. We need to work on the cultural issues. We need to work on the political systems, and at least start from there. Let these young men know that there is dignity in labor.
Yes.
And that the religious clerics need to be on board. That the dignity in labor will not come from being a nuisance to the society. It comes from contributing to the well-being of your neighbor and the society. The cultural issues will not come from you having a cultural supremacist mindset that because of you belong to this tribe, therefore the jobs should go to your people. No, we need to start seeing ourselves as one Nigerian that have to manage and respect our boundaries to enjoy the little space we have. And then politically, the political state actors need to know that the votes, the sovereignty, the franchise of these people can no longer be marginalized just to be manipulated for their own vote. They have a say. I could go on and on, but
yes, some of those terrorists and bandits. If you have a conversation with them, some of them, I think one of the things they will tell you is that we are into this and because of extreme poverty. So, do you see poverty as a justification for them indulging?
That poverty is always an excuse. The fear of being poor is always an excuse in every society. But because the government has not been serious to implement consequences, sanctions, and penalty for those who deviate from the meaningful contribution to the society. As I said again, the political state actors, they love a thriving chaos. They love chaos that is unabated. Why? It allows them, it empowers them the more. So, for example, the more chaos you have, the more the government amasses power. That's the truth. But that's what they are seeing. Of course, it will lead to more anarchy that will eventually
in attempt to suppress or crush these banditry, terrorism. I think the National Assembly, the lawmakers have prescribed a death penalty.
But then that's the problem.
So
it's not being implemented.
What do you make of that?
The state actors are not implementing it. They are not implementing it. We are hearing that those who have been terrorizing Nigeria are being rehabilitated. Hello, I'm a lawyer, and there are forms of rehabilitation that will help criminal-minded persons to be restored back into the society to contribute meaningfully. For these people, this is not just a crime against one person. This is a crime against the state. This is a crime against humanity. This is a crime. Since there's religious underpinning, this is a crime against God.
Okay, all
so
right.
there must be penalties.
Okay, we take a another brief break, and when we return that, we continue our conversation.
Thank you.
From Abuja to Lagos to your street, the stories that matters. Get the straight talk on the economy, the deep dive into politics, and the essential insights on our society. No bias, no agenda, just clear, concise dialogue. Your voice, your awareness. Join the most important conversation in Nigeria. Tune in to Niger Dialogue with Stevie Ahmed on OITV channel 23 every Saturday morning 10 a.m. Your voice, your awareness. Okay, many thanks indeed. Thank you for staying tuned. Okay, already we have established that terrorism, banditry is not just about lack of jobs. Okay,
Yes.
it's about misguided beliefs, brainwashing, exposure to toxic
That
ideology,
is being flamed
Yeah.
by the bad state political actors.
yes.
They are thriving in the chaos. They are
Yes.
thriving in the commotion.
Yes, and deeply, kind of deeply rooted in the religious supremacy.
Yes, of
and,
course,
yes,
it's there.
and I
It's
want
there.
to,
But even though it's there, it's
Yes.
something that can be easily handled.
Okay.
The northern people are some of the best persons you will ever see. It's just that some people are manipulating these ideologies. They are warping it in the negative sense, and they are trying to shove it down the throat of innocent young Nigerians. Some of these boys, I'm not going to, it will shock you. Some of these boys, if they are in a proper system, they will not be thinking of carrying arms. They're probably thinking of the next job I can do to get the next meal. But because somebody somewhere is benefiting from this whole chaos, he has manipulated that religious underpinning. It's not that the I'm trying to be very careful here.
Yeah.
Somebody, some factors, some people, actors of whatsoever intent or interest that they have, are the one manipulating these structures and these systems to warp the mindset of these young people.
okay, yes, but now how do you dissuade someone who heretically believes that he will be rewarded with 7 virgins in
And it's
heaven,
because-
for killing adherents of other faiths?
Yeah.
How do you dissuade and how
It's
do you
because the states themselves, the state itself, and I'm talking about the federal level and I'm talking about the state level, have not ensured punitive measures, sanctions, penalties, punishment to be instituted and enforced upon these persons. They have not. If for anything, some of these political actors are in court with these people that are using these religious ideologies to flourish their agenda, to destroy lives, to cause chaos and commotion and crises and death and wastage of lives in the north. And it's, of course, it's gradually coming down to the south. Lagos is not safe, if I have to be sincere to you. Sooner or later, they will come for us if we do not take ownership, if we do not take responsibility for the future of Nigeria and call all the northern state actors and call them to order that come. And the state, the federal level has the power. Tinubu as it is has the power to dictate the terms. He has the power to do house cleansing or house warming or whatever it is, to go through the root of the matter and look at his cabinet and look at those in power and hold them accountable. Recently, there's the news flying, not today, for long, that there have been different persons who owe either the rich elite or the political elite or the religious elite that have been exposed, not one time, countless times, if I can say correctly, that these are the people sponsoring this, these are the people supporting this, these are the people enabling this. And when have we seen the state security apparatus gone after these persons? When have we seen, for the sake of young Nigerians who are the majority of the population and who are going to be the future leaders of tomorrow, and who will be left with an hopeless statelessness, anarchy and chaos, whose only mindset is japa, what are the state security apparatus doing to go after these people, to interrogate them? But what are they doing? They are going after people like you and I who speak up, So it's a problem of leadership right now, and that leadership has failed to take responsibility.
So, but do we continue to pay ransom anytime those people
So
demand
the
ransom?
thing
Because I
is
think that is what is inspiring and motivating them to persist.
you won't blame the
continue
average
to do that.
Nigerian that hears that his son has been kidnapped. It does not. The state said that recently we had that a military general was killed. That is supposed to be something that should infuriate the Nigerian security apparatus. That's a dishonor. You don't do that to the least of an American soldier. You don't dare do that even to let's think that a responsible country, even the person is not a soldier, just an ordinary average citizen. You just don't dare do that. You will be held responsible. Our general that has given his life got massacred by these evil forces, and the all security apparatus and their political elite do not bat an eye to say this is anathema, this is wrong, and we should go out all fire and guns are blazing, in quote, as Donald Trump said, to put this thing and nip it in the bud. No, we did it. And so you won't blame an average Nigerian that is seeing all this and is hearing that, oh, his daughter, his sister has been kidnapped. You
Okay,
the
and
money.
then suppose you were the president of Nigeria, what would you have done differently to crush?
That's the funny thing. Let's be sincere.
Yes.
If you decide to come out to, say, elect me, vote for me, and you're saying Emiloko, and you're saying it's my turn, and you're saying you want to go in next round, it means something. It means you are aware of the situation on ground and you're willing to deal with it head on. And because you are aware does not mean you are an expert. It means you are willing to get the right team that will advise you and that you will collaborate with to ensure that this problem is nipped in the bud. I'm not saying that Tinubu has the solution. I am saying that in all the cabinet that he has, in all the Nigerian security apparatus, in the entire from the Senate to the House of Assembly, the people we voted with our hands. Are you saying that all of them are clueless? Are you saying we just voted them there to come and be what? Collecting salary, collecting allowances, and driving the latest bulletproof cars? No. If I was the president, I didn't desire to be the president, but at least I know what I want. I want security. And so what are the stakeholders I'm supposed to be talking? Who are the stakeholders I'm supposed to be talking with? What are the plans we are supposed to be marshalling out? Who are the people that are supposed to be punished? Where is the punitive measures that we are implementing? Where is the laws we are enforcing? Who are we holding accountable for the deaths of innocent Nigeria? What is the proof that yes, we are working to deal with this? That's what I'll be thinking. That's what I'll be doing.
Okay, now many thanks indeed. Thank you very much
You're welcome.
for offering your perspective. Okay, this is my take on this matter, especially the Dangote recommendation.
Oh, we even digress from it in a way because the issue is multifaceted if you look at it.
Yes, indeed.
And let me add before you comment, sir. Of course, Dangote opinion is something that if any reasonable northern leader is listening and elites are listening, it should make them worry. It should make them start thinking this is no longer play as usual. The north, as we are well aware, is resource rich, and therefore, let's look at Nigeria. The south is where the oil is what is running our economy. Let's be very, very sincere. That wealth that is in the south is a collective wealth. Of course, there are cabals, but at least there's an opening up, and
we have literally got out.
Okay.
1 minute.
There's a whole lot to unpack, but then let's hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you
let's
very
hear your
much.
analysis of the whole
Thank
issue.
you very much.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Okay, I do not totally disagree with Dangote's recommendation.
At all.
Why his prescription is remedial. These challenges are religiously and ideologically
and
driven.
culturally.
Yes, and culturally.
And politically motivated.
And as such, required religious and ideological approach. Okay, so I feel that there is comparing need for the deradicalization of religious orientations, and of course, the northern religious leaders and elites must face persecution when they promote religious hate. And again, the children must be taught that you don't kill your fellow humans in the name of religions or for gods. Because I know that life is sacrosanct and God will definitely demand accountability for every blood you shed and the life you take. Okay, unfortunately, we have to leave it there. Barrister Peter Momo, writer, co-founder of Query Queen. Many thanks indeed for coming
Thank you
on
for having
Niger
me.
Dialogue with TV. I'm going to share your perspective and, of course, your expertise on the topic. Okay, of course, dear viewers, this is where we call it a wrap on the show until I come your way next week with another interesting and exciting topic. From me to you. Bye.